Everyone, my name is, first of all, we want to welcome you to the 28th anniversary award dinner of the Korean American Friendship Society. Tonight we're celebrating the strength, resilience, and the dynamism of the U.S.-Korea alliance. And last year, we had just passed the 70th anniversary of the U.S.-Korea alliance. And tonight, we are also showcasing the important role that the Korean American community has played in reinforcing and energizing this important bilateral relationship on every front, from politics to trade and investment, from culture and the arts, to history and research. We'll be honoring two distinguished Americans of Korean descent who have made significant contributions to the United States, who are role models and who will be remembered in the history books. Ambassador Sung Kim and Professor Edward Chang. And on a personal note, I've known and spent significant time with both of these individuals, and they are wonderful, wonderful human beings. So we are honored to have them this evening. And yes, my name also is Abraham Kim. I'm the Executive Director at the Council of Korean Americans. I represent a national network of Korean American executives and decision makers across the country who promote civic engagement and the importance of service to the community and country, and finally the importance of mentoring and inspiring the next generation of leaders. I will be your MC for tonight. And for those of you who says, hey man, that guy looks very familiar. Yes, because last year, where Ambassador Kim was sitting, I was sitting there, gleefully waiting to receive the 2023 American Korean Friendship Society Lifetime Achievement Award. What I didn't realize at that time, and I should have read the fine print before accepting the award, that winning the award may require me to come back the following year to MC the ceremony. So, Ambassador Sung Kim, please make sure to pay close attention because next year you'll be in this spot. All joking aside, it is a great honor to return and share this important evening with all of you to celebrate the tremendous progress of the U.S.-Korea relationship, the Korean American community, and the amazing trailblazers and innovators who are shaping it. And now, to begin our program for this evening, I would like to ask all of you to arise and stand I am informed that there's additional performances this evening, so please have a seat. I didn't get that memo. Followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by retired General Larry Ellis, and then the national anthem by soprano Ms. Bo Ki-min, United States and South Korea.
Ready, one. Ready, two. Ready, three. Ready, four. Ready, five. Arms. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets were guns bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? 백두산이 마르고 닳도록 하나님이 보호하사 우리나라 만세. 무궁화 삼천리 화려강산 대한 사람 대한으로 길이 보존하세.
Before I invite up our fearless and incomparable president of the American Korean Friendship Society, Mr. Sunny Park.
Good evening. Such a wonderful evening to the great company. Welcome everyone to the 14th American Europe celebration, which coincides with the 48th anniversary of American Korean Friendship Society. American Korean Friendship Society started the first meeting in 1996. Basement, one of the rooms of my house, to 38 leaders, including General Raymond Davis, Ambassador Jim Laney, Mr. Kim Sang-suk, the city mayor of Seoul City, and Go Wan-yu, president of Seoul National University. There was about 38 of them sit together and discuss. We need to have something that can help the people from all countries get bonded and maintain and improve the alliance of the countries have. American Korean Friendship Society mission is very simple. When you read the title of the society, it means friendship. literally, we are here for share our interests. And then make sure it's a better friendship next year. I am very pleased to announce that we have a record-breaking turnout. We started, like I said, we have 38, started with 48 years ago. Tonight, we have over 240 attendees. And celebrating. Thank you so much for helping the relationship, improve the relationship of both countries. We are honoring to have all of us here. It's over made a long distance trip to be here. And I want to thank you so much. Even Dr. Abraham Kim flew from DC today to help our program as an MC. Thank you, Abe. And then we couldn't find the right MC in the Atlanta area, so I had to import one from DC, and he's here. Thank you so much. We're honored to have you honorees this evening, Ambassador Sung Kim and Mrs. Kim all the way from Seoul, and Dr. Chang, Edward Chang, that made the early red-eye flight from Los Angeles, arriving this morning. Some of your guests drove 5 hours to get here, from North Carolina, from Florida. Thank you so much. And you and I, and each of your friends, that's the reason we are gathering. That's the reason we are sharing our meals and then celebrating our relationship. Together, Americans and Koreans enjoy the Bahamian relationship and continue to improve. If I may, I would like to recognize special guests. It is hard for me to recognize just few special guests because you are, every one of you are special guests. The first, I would like to recognize Korean War veterans who saved the South Korea from North Korea's invasion. Korean War veterans, please stand, be recognized. Without your sacrifices, we won't be here. Every time I think about you, I can only cry. The sacrifice you made for the country where I'm from has actually made every one of us have enjoyed the freedom. So it is like a black and white compared with the North Korea, the people in the North Korea, what kind of a freedom they enjoy and versus South Korea. So it is a symbolic thing, and thank you very much. I would like to ask all the active and retired military personnel to stand and be recognized. Thank you so much. You're the reason I can sleep well every night, and we will never forget that. And I'd like to ask all the elected officials in this room, please stand. So some of them enjoying the meal here together, sharing drinks. Thank you so much for coming. Yesterday, we had in Georgia Senate, we had a celebration of inauguration of American Korean Friendship Caucus in the Georgia state. Senator Doc Red actually initiated with several other senators, and we had a good celebration last night, yesterday morning, and we thank you so much for the symbolic event that we'll never forget. And then I would like to recognize the Major General Dwayne retired Major General Patrick Donahoe and Mrs. Donahoe here. Please stand. And Commissioner Patricia Ross, the Georgia Department of Veterans Services is here. Patricia. I'd like to ask the Consul General for Japan, Mr. and Mrs. Mio Maeda is here. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you very much. Thank you especially when Japanese Consul General joined Korean American event. This is a symbolic thing. Somehow there's a stereotype that people think we are like a cat and dog, but we're not. We're actually friends. So this is the right place to be. Thank you so much. And our 82nd, all the VIP, the special guest I'm calling, is just for the except to those people who are not in the program. But I will especially recognize our 82nd governor of the state of Georgia, Nathan Deal. And Honorable Andrew Young, the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. And he was a representative from Georgia. We thank you for your service. It's such an honor to have you this evening and sharing friendship with us. I would like to thank Kim Il-bong, Executive Vice President of the Hyundai Group, and my good friend, and then all the good help, and I appreciate you connecting with Ambassador Kim to Georgia to take this honor. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And a couple of years ago, we heard of great news. There's a Korean company coming here, the record-breaking investment over close to $7-8 billion. And then the newsmaker, the Hyundai Motor Group, actually, a couple of Hyundai Motor Group executives are here. Please let me recognize. We thank you for the good investment. And we also want to welcome Mrs. Vincent Lee, Mrs. Kim, the wife of Ambassador Kim, and also came from Seoul. We thank you for your participation. And I would also like to ask all the staff and board members of the American Korean Friendship Society to stand and be recognized. Thank you so much for the good work you do. Now it's time for me to recognize every one of you. You're all special too. All of us. So everyone stand and be recognized. I want to brag about the record-breaking sponsorship this year. So this is a wonderful. Because of the sponsorship, we could order nicer meals tonight. Instead of hamburger, we ordered steak and the fish. So please enjoy and thanks for the sponsors. And please know that dollars for working hard, those sponsors that contribute to the society will be well spent. Every dollar you send us will be spent for the right thing, related to mission for this society. That said, I'd like to recognize all the board members come from and recognize all the sponsors. And I'd like to call the name, each of you, and then please all the sponsors come forward and take this the trophy. I really appreciate it. That appreciation back. Mr. and Mrs. Frank Blake. Thank you. And have all the board members come and stand with me, please. We named it Paragon Award 2024, the Blake Family Foundation. Thank you so much. Next, Georgia Banking Company. Next, thank you very much. Thank you, General Building Maintenance. Joe Wilson, here. Paragon Award, Atlanta North Double Double. Skin issue, go see Adam. She knows the best about your skin issue. Southeastern Regional Center, Moses check. Chu Family Foundation. Dr. Chu.
This is my executive.
우리 나기현 선생님이세요. Mr. and Mrs. Nagiel. I gotta tell you.
You're not wrong.
He drives an Uber. And his family. General Evans.
Sophia Lee, and I currently attend the Kansas City Art Institute with the concentration in fine arts. Mr. Sunny Park gave me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity as he commissioned for me a painting dedicated to the Korean War Veterans Memorial located in Washington, D.C. Seeing the memorial for the first time, I was overwhelmed to read the long list of casualties. Alongside the list of names, the individual faces of each bronze statue made me feel bittersweet, as the memorial itself was beautiful, but the message portrayed was shocking. For once, I grasped the amount of sacrifice each Korean War veteran had made for not only my nation, but for my heritage, my family, friends, and for me. I found myself very emotional throughout the whole art-making process of this painting. as I drew the face of the aged veteran. It made me wonder what he was like prior to the war. To think that this veteran was once just a boy around my age made me extremely grateful, but also made me further reflect on the bravery of these people. I believe that it is through these sacrifices that allow for my freedom and my identity as a Korean American today. Through my artistic abilities, I hope to influence the betterment of our future society, just like the veterans did for us. I also hope to remind the young generations of these people and their great sacrifices facilitated the privileged life that we live today, because our freedom was indeed not free. Thank you so much.
So we're going to have our entree served very soon, but we're going to ask the cameraman to come up and take a group picture. So rather than having a group picture together, the camera gentleman will come up and take a group picture of all of us together. So cameraman, come on up, group picture, and then we'll have a break. Senate, Georgia State Senate has passed a special resolution to commemorate this day, and the American Korean Friendship Society, and we invited Senator Redd to come up and to present the resolution. And afterwards, Mr. Frank Blake will be giving the
from North Korea and established itself as both a top 10 world economy and as one of the United States' closest allies. Whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that this civic organization be appropriately honored during this special time. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Senate of Georgia that, and myself, who's chairman of the Legislative Korean Caucus, that the members of this body congratulate the American Korean Friendship Society, Incorporated, upon the grand occasion of the 28th anniversary. Be it further resolved that the Secretary of the Senate is authorized and directed to make an appropriate copy of this resolution available for distribution to the American Korean Friendship Caucus. Also, I want to add that my father is retired, well, he's deceased, but he's a Korean War veteran, decorated with a Purple Heart. And one day, I plan to go to Korea to see the land that he shed part of his blood to liberate. And now a few words for the other senator.
안녕하세요. My name is Senator Nabila Islam Parks, and I actually represent the largest Korean population in the South, actually, in Senate District 7, which is West Gwinnett. So I am the proud senator of the cities of Duluth, Swanee, Peachtree Corners. But I'm also a proud member of the Korean American Friendship Caucus, and if there's anything I can ever do for the capital, please let me know. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite the Consul General of the Republic of Korea in Atlanta, the Honorable Sun Kyo-sa. Prior to his arrival, he was the Republic of Korea ambassador to the country of Pakistan, and now he's the Consul General here in Atlanta.
Good evening, distinguished guests. I found that you're here tonight, dear parents. I'm glad to be called. I would like, first of all, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Sandra, President of the American Korean Friendship Society, and Chair Frank Blake, and other board members, General Secretary, for their purposefully organizing this meaningful all ceremony. I am very honored to have an opportunity to speak tonight in front of such distinguished figures. As we know that Honorable Andrea, Representative Rich McKee, Honorable Nathan Hill, and Norman Wood, President of Korean Veteran Association. I must emphasize the exceptional accomplishment of Peter and wholeheartedly congratulate on your award, Honorable Song Kim and Dr. Edward Chen. Their achievement not only bring honor to themselves, but also complete the Korean community. Yesterday, I had the privilege to address the esteemed members of the Georgia Senate, commemorating the commendation of the Senate American Korean Friendship Caucus. It was a very successful effort by the Senate Majorette. The caucus marks a significant milestone in fostering the ties between our nations. And just we see that another kind of event, recognition of the 28th anniversary of American Korean Friendship Society by the Georgia Senate. The Senate jointly held yesterday at the state capitol. So I was there also. I'm very honored to attend that ceremony also. On top of these good things, this January, the Georgia House passed a resolution acknowledging Korean American Day. It is truly remarkable to witness how the over 70-year-old Republic of Korea and U.S. alliance has evolved from a military partnership into a multi-facet collaboration that encompasses economic, culture, and cutting-edge fields like AI and quantum science. And I was told, and I most of people also joined tonight, that at the core of this kind of transformation lies the invaluable contributions of the Korean American community, whose resilience and hard work over 120 years of immigration history have laid the groundwork for this flourishing partnership between our nations. Today's gathering, I believe, not only celebrate the achievement of Korean American community, but also commemorate the pivotal role in shaping American society. Once again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone for gracing us with your valuable presence. As we move forward, I express my sincere hope that the American Korean Friendship Society will continue to flourish, serving as a beacon of friendship between our two nations. Thank you for your attention.
And he's lived many lifetimes. And clergyman, civil rights leader, executive director of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, close confidant of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., served in the U.S. Congress, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, and of course the 5th Mayor of Atlanta. We are very honored to have Ambassador Young say a few comments. Ambassador Young.
The God, the people of God. That's what I've come to think of when I think of my experiences with Korea. They've all been so good. First, I broke my arm when I was 4, and they didn't set it right. In general, that's the reason I didn't go to Korea. Because I was in ROTC and I would come out in 1951 as a second lieutenant. Except just before I went to the firing range, the sergeant looked down and saw me holding the gun, and he said, "Young." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Turn your hand over." I said, "It won't turn, it's broken." And he said, "Get the hell out of here." And I almost cried. a second lieutenant in 1951, and that wasn't a good time to be a second lieutenant in Korea. But I've spent the rest of my life being blessed by my friends in Korea. That the first place I went after I became mayor was Korea. And we adopted Daegu as our sister city. And we did all kinds of exchanges. And we had wonderful times. Then in 1990, I went back to the Korean Olympics because that's where we cast our bid. And I was impressed with the way Korea put on the Olympics. And we learned a lot from it. When you drive down 75, 85, just before you look to the right, you get to Georgia Tech, that was our Olympic Village. And the reason it was our Olympic Village was we saw what Korea did, Seoul did. They built all these buildings, they sold them in advance, and that's the way they paid for them. And then people rented them for the Olympics, and after the Olympic Village, people could get their houses. Well, we had no money with our Olympics, and so that's one of the ways we figured we could get started. But later on, our trade back and forth, our friendship, and my relationship with Korean churches. I've never been in a place where people were more serious about their Christianity. And even the taxi drivers used to have their Bibles in the dashboard. And while they were waiting, they would be reading the Bible. And I think the biggest church I've ever been in is the Millstone Presbyterian Church in Seoul. I invited the pastor to come with me to Africa. And we changed planes in Ethiopia. And he realized that the Ethiopians had done a lot for Korea during the war, and he couldn't remember anybody thanking them from Korea. And the next thing I knew, he was talking about building a hospital near the airport because he realized there wasn't one. So a local church built a hospital in Korea, in Ethiopia. Then they supplied it with their members as missionaries, and next thing I know, they had decided that a hospital wasn't enough. So they built a medical school, and they're training doctors in Ethiopia because the Ethiopians came there and fought to help them. And so everything I know about Korea, frankly, is very, very good. I almost think if I didn't know some of my friends a little better than they think I know them, I'd almost say it's a nation of saints. So God bless you, and God has blessed you, and you have done a good job sharing your blessings with Atlanta.
Next, I'd like to invite up Congressman Rich McCormick, who is a decorated Marine Corps veteran, helicopter pilot, emergency room physician, but probably the most joyful, most difficult job he has is being the parent with his wife of 7 amazing children. I'm a parent of 4, and that's hard enough. I can't imagine what 7. Anyways, Congressman McCormick.
I assume nobody's trying to compete with that. At least not the children. Young Hexio. I want to give special recognition. Thank you. There's nobody else who could put on such a diverse program with singing, dancing, politicians, authors. entrepreneurs, philanthropists, Marines, veterans, Vietnam veterans, Korean veterans, Persian Gulf War veterans. I'm very excited to say that I'm going to be jumping into Normandy on the 80th anniversary out of the Lead 47 that led the charge on D-Day. And there's hardly any World War II vets left. So embrace our veterans while you have them. This is a special occasion. I have deep ties to the Korean community. My first experience in the Marine Corps was at the basic school where we had two exchange officers, Captain Choi and Captain Lee, that went through 6 months of training with us who were exceedingly good. Some of the best Marines you'll ever work with. And then I spent 3 tours over in Pohang with the Korean Marines, serving and watching them with their corporal punishment, and watching how hardcore and fit they were, and watching how excellent they were at executing something, because they had to win. They had one battlefield, one enemy. If they lost, they would die. So they became very good at what they did. And it was neat to see over the time, just to see our nations come closer and closer economically, strategically, militarily. And then to top it all off, my son, who is now in college, is now dating a young lady who's the daughter of 2 Korean immigrants in 2003. And it's neat to be exposed to that culture and even a more closely related. So it doesn't matter if we're tied through the military, through service overseas, through marriage, through entrepreneurship, but we are tied together forever as close friends with South Korea, and I'm appreciative for that. I will say this, the Rock Marines motto is something that I hold very near and dear, and it applies to all of us because we have one battlefield when it comes to good versus evil, and we must win. And if you convert that saying must win into the Korean, it is the Marine Corps motto for the Rock Marines, and it is Hyusung. So I say this with all due respect and all good fortune looking forward, we must win. God bless you, and kamsahamnida.
Distinguished speaker will be the Honorable Governor Nathan Deal. To introduce Governor Deal, I'll be inviting him back up Chairman Frank Blake to introduce the governor.
We're blessed to have as our keynote speaker this evening the 82nd Governor of the state of Georgia, someone who's made an enormous impact in the state, who has had enormous impact on our Korean-American relationships. And it's a very proud evening for all of us to have the governor here to deliver our keynote address. Please welcome.
Thank you very much, Frank, and to all of the distinguished guests who are here, those who have been a part of the program and those who have not but who have been recognized. It is indeed an honor to be with you this evening. I'll be brief since we have such an extensive program, and I don't want to hold you here any longer than you need to. Let me make this first observation. First of all, congratulations to the cadets who are here and the Youth Challenge Academy in general, those who have been introduced as a part of their team that conducts these programs. Several years ago, my late wife was asked to address at a graduation ceremony for one of the Youth Challenge Academies. She was so impressed with that she became a big cheerleader for them, and during my administration we made great efforts and great strides and expanded the Youth Challenge program in our state, and thank you all for making it a great success. As Americans, we sometimes have very short memories. We don't remember things that we should remember. Tonight is a night in which we have been reminded about some of those things. One of my earliest memories was when I first saw television for the first time. Many of you will remember when you had and saw television for the first time. Many of you will remember where you were when you heard that President Kennedy was assassinated. Many of you remember where you were when you heard that the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. Many of you will remember events that have special significance. But that first time that I saw television had significance in more ways than one. That small little black and white, oh, it would be so minuscule next to that new 70-inch wide TV that I just thought that it would be a shame. Nobody even know what it was. It was so small. But you know what I remember seeing on that television for that first time? It was the celebration of the conclusion of the Korean War. I remember the celebrations, the parades. I remember seeing the president and all of the things that went along with celebrating that event. Now, as a young boy, I was a young boy at that time, but it made an impression on me. Later on, after I had served in the military as a captain in the Army and went into private practice in Gainesville, I began to meet older gentlemen who were Korean War veterans. The one thing that stood out, though, with many of them was that they referred to the Korean War as the forgotten war. They felt forgotten. They thought our nation had forgotten what that war was and how significant it was. We should never forget why that war was fought. We should never forget the peril that South Korea still stands next to, probably the most dangerous military force on the face of the earth. I have been told by many military people who know more than I do by a long shot, is that North Korea is potentially the one that is going to cause the war that we all dread. It won't be China, it won't be Russia, it will be North Korea. So let's not forget what a perilous situation South Korea is in and how important our friendship with them must remain. So let's don't forget all of these things. I think one of the ways that we can make sure that we don't forget is to teach our young people about events like this. I think many of us have some trepidation about what is being taught in our public schools, especially as it relates to history. I'm not sure that they're getting the kind of background in history that many of us, and most of us actually, probably receive. But we must not let them forget the Korean War, the Vietnam War, World Wars I and II. All of these were fought to maintain freedom in the human race. And those necessities of maintaining freedom still persist. So, as we talk to young people, and many of you do, I know, remind them of these kind of historical things that are in their past, but are a very important part of their present, and probably even more important in their future. I would encourage more exchange programs so that young people can visit Korea and they can visit our country. That's one of the better ways of making sure that the next generation understands who their neighbors and their friends are and how to live and work with them. Now, I started off by saying it's important that we remember some things. For the 8 years that you gave me the pleasure of serving as governor of this state, I visited Korea every year. A number of visits to important industries. Of course, Kia had come under my predecessor, Governor Perdue, but Kia continued to expand. And then others came, other businesses, and they continued to come. The most recent, of course, I suppose, the biggest is with Hyundai. and their new facilities down in southeast Georgia. Those facilities and the plans related to those are tremendous. We have been blessed as a state to have South Korea as our friend, as our business partner, and as our companion in making sure freedom persists in this world. So, thanks to all of you. Let's continue the friendship, and let's make sure that our children and our grandchildren and the generations that follow them never forget.